Fellow gardeners, I'm about to share something that will completely transform how you think about feeding your pepper plants. After decades of watching gardeners struggle with mediocre harvests despite spending fortunes on chemical fertilizers, I've rediscovered the time-tested wisdom our ancestors used to grow peppers that would make today's store-bought varieties look like pale imitations. These aren't just old wives' tales. They're scientifically sound methods that work with nature's own systems to create the most vibrant, productive pepper plants you've ever seen. When you walk through any ancient garden site, from the terraced fields of the Incas to the monastery gardens of medieval Europe, you'll notice something remarkable. The soil is still incredibly fertile centuries later. This isn't by accident. Ancient civilizations understood something we've forgotten in our rush toward synthetic solutions. The secret to abundant harvest lies not in feeding plants directly, but in feeding the living ecosystem beneath our feet. The soil microbiome, that invisible universe of bacteria, fungi, and countless microscopic organisms, acts as your pepper plant's personal nutritional concierge service. These tiny allies break down organic matter, making nutrients available in forms your plants can actually use, while simultaneously protecting root systems from diseases and environmental stress. Modern chemical fertilizers bypass this natural system entirely, delivering nutrients in forms that plants can absorb immediately, but that often create imbalances and dependencies that weaken plants over time. What makes ancient fertilization methods so powerful is their focus on building soil biology rather than simply dumping nutrients onto plants. When you feed the soil community, you create a self-sustaining system that continues working long after synthetic fertilizers have washed away. Your pepper plants develop stronger root systems, better disease resistance, and an ability to access nutrients that remain locked away in chemically treated soils. Let me introduce you to some of the most potent natural fertilizers that ancient gardeners relied on, starting with one that most modern gardeners literally throw away: wood ash. If you have a fireplace or wood stove, you're sitting on garden gold. Wood ash contains potassium levels that rival expensive commercial fertilizers, along with calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals that peppers crave for fruit development. The potassium in wood ash is particularly valuable for peppers because it's the key nutrient responsible for fruit size, wall thickness, and that incredible flavor intensity that makes homegrown peppers so superior to store-bought varieties. However, wood ash requires respect and understanding. Use it sparingly, no more than 5 to 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet per year, and always test your soil pH first. Wood ash raises pH levels, which can be beneficial for acidic soils but problematic if your soil is already alkaline. Sprinkle it lightly around your pepper plants in early spring and again when fruits begin forming, working it gently into the top inch of soil. The second ancient secret involves creating liquid fertilizers that would make any commercial plant food manufacturer envious: comfrey and nettle teas. Comfrey, often called liquid gold by traditional gardeners, contains more potassium than most commercial fertilizers and provides a perfect balance of nitrogen and phosphorus. When you steep comfrey leaves in water for 2 to 3 weeks, you create a concentrated nutrient solution that pepper plants can absorb immediately through their roots or leaves. Nettle tea operates on similar principles but with an even higher nitrogen content, making it perfect for the early growing season when your peppers are establishing their framework. The fermentation process that creates these teas also cultivates beneficial bacteria that enhance soil biology. To make either tea, you just fill a container with fresh leaves, cover with water, and let it ferment for, about 2 to 4 weeks until it develops that characteristic dark color and earthy smell. The third pillar of ancient pepper nutrition involves 2 ingredients that modern gardeners often overlook: bone meal and fish emulsion. Bone meal provides slow-release phosphorus that's essential for root development and flower formation, while fish emulsion delivers a complete spectrum of nutrients in forms that plants can use immediately. Ancient cultures near coastlines always incorporated fish waste into their gardens, creating some of the most productive agricultural systems in human history. These amendments work synergistically with soil biology in ways that synthetic fertilizers just can't replicate. The proteins in fish emulsion feed soil bacteria which then break down organic matter and make additional nutrients available. Bone meal releases its phosphorus slowly as soil organisms decompose it, providing steady nutrition throughout the growing season rather than the boom and bust cycle of chemical fertilizers. Understanding when and how to apply these natural fertilizers separates successful ancient gardening from, just random experimentation. The timing of applications must align with your pepper plant's natural growth cycles to maximize effectiveness, while avoiding nutrient burn or imbalances that can actually reduce yields. So, begin in early spring by incorporating bone meal into the soil about 2 weeks before transplanting, using around 2 tablespoons per planting hole. This gives soil organisms time to start breaking down the bone meal, so nutrients are available when your pepper seedling's roots start exploring their new environment. Then, follow up with a light application of wood ash mixed into the soil surface and water thoroughly to begin the integration process. Once your pepper plants are established and showing, some new growth, begin weekly applications of diluted comfrey or nettle tea. Mix 1 part fermented tea with 10 parts water for soil drenching, or dilute to 1 part tea with 20 parts water for foliar feeding. Root drenching delivers nutrients directly to the soil ecosystem, and is most effective during the morning hours when plants are actively taking up water. Foliar feeding works best in late afternoon, when temperatures are cooler and humidity is higher, allowing leaves to absorb nutrients without risk of burning. The ancient practice of companion planting serves as, honestly, a living fertilizer delivery system that continues working throughout the growing season. Plant nitrogen-fixing legumes like beans near your peppers to gradually release nitrogen into the soil. Deep-rooted plants like comfrey and dandelions mine nutrients from lower soil layers and make them available when their leaves decompose. Aromatic herbs like basil and oregano not only enhance pepper flavor when planted nearby, but also attract beneficial insects that contribute to soil health through their natural cycles. Fish emulsion applications require careful timing to avoid overwhelming your plants with nitrogen at the wrong growth stage. You'll want to apply fish emulsion every other week during the first month after transplanting to support vigorous vegetative growth, and then, reduce to monthly applications once flowering begins. Too much nitrogen during fruit development can actually delay ripening and reduce fruit quality, so it's a good idea to shift toward potassium-rich amendments like wood ash and comfrey tea as your peppers begin setting fruit. Learning to read your pepper plant's signals allows you to adjust your natural fertilization program for the best possible results. Pale yellow-green leaves often indicate nitrogen deficiency, which usually responds beautifully to nettle tea applications within about a week of treatment. On the other hand, purple-tinged leaves suggest phosphorus deficiency, so you'll want to increase bone meal applications and make sure your soil pH stays in the optimal range for phosphorus availability. When peppers develop blossom end rot, that dark sunken spot on the fruit's bottom, it usually means there's a calcium deficiency, but more often than not, it's actually caused by inconsistent watering rather than a lack of calcium in the soil. The calcium in wood ash can help address this issue, but honestly, consistent moisture management is just as important. Ancient gardeners understood this connection between water management and nutrient availability, and they often created sophisticated irrigation systems to keep soil moisture steady. The differences you'll observe using these ancient methods extend far beyond simple yield increases, though those are certainly impressive. Peppers grown with natural soil-building techniques develop thicker cell walls, resulting in that satisfying crunch and snap that indicates superior fruit quality. The flavor improvements are even more dramatic. Peppers grown in biologically active soil develop complex flavor profiles with deeper heat levels and more nuanced taste characteristics. Disease resistance improvements often surprise gardeners most. Peppers grown in healthy, biologically active soil rarely suffer from common problems like fungal diseases or pest infestations that plague plants dependent on synthetic fertilizers. The beneficial microorganisms in well-fed soil create protective barriers around plant roots while strengthening plant immune systems naturally. Now, some gardeners worry that these natural methods work too slowly or require too much preparation compared to synthetic alternatives. While it's true that building soil biology takes time, The results compound over seasons rather than requiring constant reapplication. Your soil improves each year, requiring fewer inputs while producing better results. The initial investment in learning and preparation pays dividends for decades. The ancient secrets I've shared represent just the beginning of what's possible when you align your gardening practices with natural systems rather than fighting against them. These methods work because they're based on fundamental biological principles that have sustained agriculture for millennia, not marketing claims designed to sell products. Honestly, you should start with one or two techniques this season rather than attempting everything at once. Choose the methods that best fit your situation. If you have access to wood ash, begin there. If you enjoy making compost teas, start with nettle or comfrey. The key is consistent application and careful observation of how your plants respond. Document your results through photos and notes tracking not just yields, but also plant vigor, pest resistance, and fruit quality. This information becomes invaluable for refining your techniques and sharing experiences with other gardeners who are rediscovering these time-tested methods. The community of gardeners embracing ancient wisdom is growing rapidly as more people discover the superior results these methods provide. Your experiences and observations contribute to this collective knowledge, helping preserve and refine techniques that industrial agriculture tried to make us forget. Remember to subscribe to the Smart Garden YouTube channel for more ancient gardening secrets that can revolutionize your harvests. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to move beyond chemical dependency towards sustainable abundance. Together, we're not just growing better peppers, we're cultivating a deeper understanding of how to work with nature for results that surpass anything modern shortcuts can provide. Your soil, your plants, and future generations of gardeners will thank you for making this transition to time-tested, sustainable growing methods.